What is up, YouTube? So basically, today I'm just gonna keep it chill, and I'm just gonna be designing for my own brand. So I may or may not be using this, um, you know. So we're just gonna kind of go as we please here and see what we design. So I'm just gonna show what my mood board is. Kind of got this going on. Want to do kind of like an abstract. I don't know what I'm really going for. I'm just gonna do something. So we're gonna check it out. So right now I'm just basically masking out the two little tigers I got here, and I'm just adding a little threshold layer with a pattern, and it creates this cool kind of like vectorized look with like a stylized effect. And what I'm doing right now is just copying it out and starting the process of removing all of the white and just preserving the black. As you can see, when I take off the transparency, it becomes see-through. So I'm adding them like to the edges because it creates this border. And then I got my text here. I always go for like this cursive kind of style, but just because it like flows really well with a lot of the designs I like. And that's currently what I'm in the phase of doing right now. So right now what I'm doing is adding a stroke, but going with the inside option because it makes the text a little bit skinnier. It makes it a little bit, just adds a nice little effect. I'm all about like the small details, and that just makes it pretty cool. But I'm just replicating the pattern feature again. But what I'm doing right now is having an extremely hard time with finding the correct PSD file I'm looking for. So I eventually just skip past it because I don't want to look for it, and I got a lot more of the design that I ended up needing to do. So right now what I'm doing is I'm bringing up this picture, and I really like this small part of it. It has this ship that kind of looks like this like olden times in front of this mountain with some text on top of it. And I figured that I just kind of, snag that by selecting it and masking it out, and then adding a kind of like a black and white filter, and then just remaining or removing all of the white, and then just replacing the text with like my little branding, which you'll see me doing here in a minute. And the reason why I'm not thresholding it is because it just takes away all of the detail, and it's just too small. So I'm not gonna do that, and I'm just gonna instead of doing all that, I'm just gonna post process the effects afterwards by removing the color separately and manually. But I'm adding the text here, and I'm just adjusting it so it creates the curvature effect like I was wanting. But you'll see me replace this here in a couple seconds. But this is my method of adding distressing currently. It's free and I don't have to pay for a brush. But right now I'm just adjusting the font, adding this another image that I enjoyed, inverting it right now because I just thought it would look cooler like this. Toss a contrast on there, make it look a little bit darker, add a little bit of grunge. Right now I'm just adding grunge to the text, but I need to adjust the text because there's just too much white space and it just doesn't flow. So I ended up liking this just because it looks pretty good. And now I'm adding a wavy distort to add a fuzz, but I ended up not liking it because it would have made it look too blurry on the actual print, so I ended up not doing it. I adjusted the text down here by adding another grungy layer. Obviously you can see I'm redoing it over and over again because I just don't like it. And then what I'm doing here is getting some inspiration for the inner piece. I wanted to do something with, I don't know, Middle East kind of feel without being like kind of, I don't even know the word, but y'all know what I mean. So I ended up finding this kind of little cool image, and I was like, how do I take this out and make it look cool? So I figured I'd just remove the tree and then I'll keep the actual building, remove the background and all that, and just incorporate the building. You'll see me do that here in a second. But I've been thinking I would like really like to do, and I really wanted to experiment with in my designs a little bit more and adding color, types of color. So I stumbled upon this picture on Pinterest and it just looked perfect. So I inverted it, and then really hard to retain the leaf detail on these types of images. So I just create my own detail by using the magic erase on a mask, and then using the paintbrush tool with the same speckle option and just creating like, and it honestly doesn't look that bad when, you know, everything's said and done and it's all on print. It kind of flows with it and it adds this like effect with like all the other things, but it keeps the color and whatnot. So you see me experimenting here with the pattern, and I just create an overlay filter on it, and I am erasing it on the mask. And then you'll see me be drawing it back because I felt that like touching would have been a good touch. And I eventually figured that I enjoy this a lot. So I'm browsing Pinterest some more. I bring it back, and then I'm like, all right, I know what I'm gonna do. Obviously, that tree looks terrible right there, and I'm gonna take it out. But about here is when I decide, yes, and I'm just gonna mask it all out. And right now, I'm just praying that it looks decent. I really like with the angle, so just bear with me here. So it doesn't look like much, but then I'm realizing it's just too small, and it looks like just doesn't flow. So I make it a little bit bigger, but boom, right there, that blue. I'd erase it, but I'm like, huh, kind of like that blue right there. It just looks pretty cool. So I add some grunge here, and then I take the magic touch tool and then I experiment with how to recreate that feature. I eventually stumble upon this masking layer setting right here. I like how it's pretty cool, and I kept that as like a masked or like a detailed touch. As you see, I'm adding an adjustment layer to kind of like a faded look. I wanted to keep these horses somehow as like effect, but it just looked too much, and I was like, I want to keep that sun and incorporate that sun somehow. So I ended up just masking it out and erasing all that white and just keeping that red because I thought it was like a cool little abstract sun look. So I wanted to keep that. I put it in the corner because I felt like in the middle it just looked off. And then I ended up creating another layer and then putting a paintbrush tool and just putting a paint layer on it. Experiment with some of the shades, and I wanted to create like an off shade to match all the other colors. And then I added this date sheet. It was super random, but it was like a pretty cool little effect when you just overlay. And as you can see, I'm just taking the magic eraser tool on the contiguous or the anti-alias and then clicking all of that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did for the design, and I'm going to show you guys what I did for the mock-up here in a second. So this is the mock-up I traditionally use. It's like the most realistic one I have, but this is a little bit of a close-up on the actual design. It's a super high quality. I don't really know what style this is, but I just think it's really cool and really clean. It's just, I don't know, it just looks pretty cool. But let me know what you guys think of this, and if I should do any more and what brands you guys think I should do any more on. And thank you guys. Peace.